What's up guys, Will here, and today I'm going to be talking about something that I feel actually quite strongly about, and that is the fact that I think that you need to read Tales from Shadowhunter Academy by Cassandra Clare before you read Lady Midnight. I just feel like you have to, and I also feel that before you read that, you have to have read the Mortal Instruments, and before you read the Mortal Instruments, you have to have read the Infernal Devices. Like, I just feel like you have to read it in chronological order, otherwise you don't understand any of the references that are being made. But, nonetheless guys, today what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you 5 reasons why I think that that is the case. For those of you who don't know, I did do a blog post about this, so the link to that will be in the description below. If you prefer to read that than watch this video, then go ahead and click that. Won't be offended, but if you do that, make sure you drop a like on the video so that I know that that's what you've done, or if you want, even drop a dislike on the video and then comment that that's what you've done. Like, I really don't mind. I just want to know what kind of content suits people best, so make sure you do that. Okay, so Tales of Shadowhunter Academy was written by Cassandra Clare, Sarah Brennan, and Maureen Johnson. It's YA urban fantasy, the same as all the rest of the Shadowhunter Chronicles, and I rated this 5 stars as a collection. Collected, like, individually, I think I gave the first one, there's 10 in total, I gave the first one 4 stars and the rest of them 5 stars. I don't think I gave them any one of them any less than that, but that's just my opinion, because it's like my kind of writing style. It's my writing style, like, you know what I mean, my kind of like stuff that I like to read, and I just flew through them because they were so good. As Lady Midnight is going to be coming out soon, or it may have already come out by the time I upload this video, the reason that basically the reason that I'm making this video is to make the point that this is what you should read before you read that. What the series basically deals with is Simon's experience of the Shadow World after the end of City of Heavenly Fire. So after the events that happened then, what happened to Simon, obviously you guys have read it will know. If not, this is actually going to be a spoiler free video, so hopefully I've written this and I'm going to say this in such a way that there won't be any kind of major spoilers for plot points and so on, but basically it just follows Simon's experience after that. And since Simon is one of my favourite characters from the series, that is exactly what I needed to get over City of Heavenly Fire, because of all the stuff that happened. I was just like, bruh. But I did need something to cure my reading hangover, and that's exactly what it did. Okay, so reason number 1, gap filling. In my opinion, most novellas or novella bind-ups are basically there and published to fill gaps in the story, or possibly create a backstory for some characters. And I think that's exactly what Tales from Shadowhunter Academy does. It fills the time gap between the end of City of Heavenly Fire, or I think it starts about 3 or 4 months after that, up until sort of leading up to the events of Lady Midnight. So it fills that time gap quite nicely, and I think if you haven't read this, then I think that when you're reading Lady Midnight, there will probably be some references and some things that you're reading but you don't really understand, or like things that have, like, plot developments that have happened and you don't understand why they're like that, because they weren't like that at the end of City of Heavenly Fire. It's kind of a bit like reading the Mortal Instruments before you've read the Infernal Devices. For me, I feel like you can't really fully enjoy all the little quirky things from the Mortal Instruments unless you've read the Infernal Devices first. So that's what I'm going to compare it to. Reason number 2 is Susie and Malik. I can't get enough of Simon and Isabel's relationship. I love reading about it, and there's like plenty of content about that in these novellas. Like, I'll admit, it was quite a lot, but I enjoy it. To be fair, I enjoyed seeing their fight, seeing them make up, seeing the fight again, seeing them make up again, and it's actually really interesting because we get to see kind of a different side to Isabel because of what has happened to Simon. So if you enjoy that, then I definitely recommend reading them. Also, a similar kind of thing with Malik. A lot of people who are fans of the series are fans of the series because of Malik. That's one of their main reasons why they're fans of the series. and there is a huge bombshell in one of these novellas. I can't remember the title of which one it was. I think it was somewhere in the middle, but there is a huge Malik bombshell, guys, and if you jump straight from City of Heavenly Fire to Lady Midnight, you're not going to understand. You're going to be like, wait, what? When did that happen? How can that happen? That's not possible according to the law of everything. Like, according to... That's not, like, supposed to be physically possible. So, if you guys want to understand what's happening, you need to read it, basically. And there's just plenty of general Malik stuff, which I'm sure everyone will enjoy. Reason number 3 is the Carstairs Legacy. Okay, so what I mean by this is basically we're going to focus in more on members of the Carstairs family. So we get to have a bit of a closer look at Emma Carstairs and what happened to her after the Dark War, like kind of her continued close friendship with Julian Blackthorn. And we also get to see a bit more of Jem. He's brought back as well, and obviously kind of recapping and refreshing our memory of what happened in the Infernal Devices and how that ties into Emma. That's really cool, and obviously we know that Lady Midnight is going to be based around Emma Carstairs and Julian Blackthorn, so it's good to sort of know more about the main character before you dive straight into the book, because it's obviously going to be straight away like you're supposed to know their character, but if you've had a bit of like prior reading, you get a bit more character insight, and I feel that'd be easier. And obviously with Jem, it's just good to revisit the stuff and re-familiarize yourself with him and what he did and how he's related to everything in terms of the Carstairs family and everything. It'll be very interesting to see how the legacy is continued. Reason number 4, guys, is linking the Infernal Devices, the Mortal Instruments, and Dark Artifices all together. I feel like these novellas kind of tie up nicely the crossovers that we have from the different series, and also like the different character plots and how they intertwine. So for example, you've got like Jem and Tessa from the Infernal Devices. You've got well, basically everyone from the Mortal Instruments. So you've got like Magnus, Alec, Clary, Jace, Simon, and Isabel, and then obviously you've got Emma and Julian from the Dark Artifice. How this is done, kind of tying it in, is in the form of flashbacks, for lack of a better word, to London in the 1800s, to like when the Circle was just starting to come into power. And also during these we get to learn a little bit more backstory on the Blackthorn family, again in preparation for Lady Midnight. So the whole sort of series is basically saying, look, we're preparing you for what's going to happen, so you need to read this before that comes out. So yeah, that's as good a point as any. And the 5th reason, guys, is less to do with like the content of the books themselves. It's literally just a reason to get them in the first place. It's that they're quick and relatively cheap. Okay, I know that when it comes to money and stuff, like what's cheap and what's expensive is really subjective. Obviously, how if you don't have a lot of money, what might seem cheap to somebody is fairly expensive for somebody else. But for me, I really didn't mind paying the £1 to £2 British pounds per novella. So obviously it's like up to £20 it cost me for the 10 books. And I suppose you could say that's expensive because they're not like huge books. And I think it's about $3 or something. I think it is that equates to $3 to $4 maybe. I don't know. Probably $2.50 to $3.50 per novella. So I guess you could say that's pretty cheap. Like, I found that pretty cheap. I didn't mind paying it. I didn't like read it and then go, wow, like it should have been 99p. Like, I didn't think that. Like, I thought it was a fair price. And also the length of the books themselves. On my iPad mini, I think they were about 150 to 200 pages, so that probably equates to 60 to 100 pages of an actual physical book. So really, you're probably looking at being able to read 1 to 3 of these novellas like a day, depending on obviously how busy you are and how quickly that you generally read. But that means to me that as there's 10 of them, you should be able to finish it easily somewhere around the week mark. and I don't feel like waiting a week to read Lady Midnight is going to hurt that much, considering the amount of character insight and plot developments that you do get from reading Tales from Shadowhunter Academy. Like, I feel like it is a kind of an essential part of understanding the whole Shadowhunter Chronicles as a whole. I mean, I might be overstating it there, but I mean, that's just my personal opinion. If you guys disagree with any of these reasons, if you have read it, or if you haven't read it and you just like have a different opinion to me about picking it up, then please comment in the section below, and I'll make sure to try and reply to as many as you guys as possible. I'd really like to have a discussion with you about why you think that. If you don't want to comment on YouTube, I also have a Twitter and obviously a Bookstram account, so if you want to hit me up there, then drop me a tweet or drop me a comment on one of my pictures on Instagram, and I'll be sure to reply to you all that way. But nonetheless, guys, that's going to do it for this video. If you did enjoy it and this kind of video, please drop a like on it, subscribe so you don't miss any more of my face. Thank you very much for watching. Have a very good rest of your day. See you in the next video.